At Cynthia Rogers, MD Dermatology, we specialize in providing comprehensive, expert care for the full spectrum of skin conditions, from complex skin diseases and skin cancer to aging concerns and aesthetic needs. With decades of combined experience in medical, surgical, and aesthetic dermatology, our team brings both deep clinical knowledge and a patient-first approach to every visit. Our practice focuses on developing personalized treatment plans tailored to each individual's skin, health, and life stage. We're located in Port St. Lucie, Florida, in the PSL Professional Center. Learn more or schedule a visit at floridaskindoctor.com.
Steel Graphics and Designs creates custom racing wraps and logos built for the real world and iRacing. From bold liveries to clean, professional branding, every design is made to perform on and off the track. Ready to upgrade your look? Contact Steel Graphics and Designs for custom wraps. Visit Steel Graphics and Designs on Facebook to learn more.
Backed by 70 years of experience, Duncan Water Systems specializes in commercial and residential water system testing, design, installation, and maintenance. Our mission at Duncan Water Systems is to provide high-quality water solutions to every customer. We pride ourselves on being responsive, honest, and customer-oriented. Our priority is safer water for you and your family. Contact us via call, text, email, or visit us at duncanwatersystems.com.
Well, good evening, race fans, and welcome to BTDY Night in America. We're back stateside for race number 6 and back on an oval as the FloridaSkinDoctor.com Racing Series takes on the Milwaukee Mile for the Duncan Water Systems 120. Got a lot of unknowns here this evening, a different track that we typically see for the Cup cars, as well as the new high horsepower package for the next gens. And we're going to be bringing you every lap of the action tonight live right here on VSPEED. Thank you for tuning in, spending your Tuesday evening with us. My name's Daniel Cunningham. Alongside me up here in the booth this evening, the boss man, Adam Baker, running production, as well as co-commentary. And as always, those camera angles courtesy of the legendary Dougie Beard. And Adam, this is one that, I'll be honest, I don't really know what to expect out of it tonight. I don't think that I've ever really even seen the next gens in a league race at the Milwaukee Mile. So this is going to be an interesting one. How are you feeling coming into this race tonight?
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see some of these kind of flat track specialists go out here and, run a good race and run up towards the front. It's going to be a tough one, though. These cars are notoriously, difficult with the aerodynamics. So getting in behind somebody, not having clean air, is going to make for a tough race if you're buried deep in the pack. So there may be some strategy calls made throughout this race to try and flip the track position So I'll be looking for that. If we get some incidents, guys trying different strategies on tires, trying to work their way up to the front of the field that way. But it's going to be an interesting one.
Indeed it is, and I think that track position is going to be the name of the game here this evening. So be interesting to see how these drivers navigate that. We do have a points update here. First, though, let's actually take a look at the track map. The Milwaukee Mile, as the name suggests, 1 mile in length, really flat racetrack, just 9 degrees of banking in the turns. This track has been around forever and a day, opened back in August 8th of 1905. And, this track is more so known for hosting IndyCar races. The Truck Series is raced here a ton. So has the ARCA Series is raced here. It's put on some good races in real life, and I have a feeling that these drivers with BTDY will live up to that here this evening as well and put on another great show for us. And, mention points. Let's go ahead and take a look at the points after 5 races. Adam Cabot, your overall points leader. Seth Hatchell, Braxton DeWeese, they have been the top 3 for all of this season, establishing themselves as early season favorites here. But even Ray Massey, just very quiet season so far, still up there in 4th. Bailey Turner in the top 5. Of course, you see Angelo Ronas, Chris Samar, Jeremiah Vincent, Bradley Cooper, Keith Mayato, your top 10. Cody Atkins and Eric Hutton holding down those last 2 spots in the chase for the championship, but that cut line is already developing as a really tight battle. Angelo Ronas in 6th, only 6 points above the cut line, all the way down to Noah Mahalski in 17th, just 9 points below the cut. So a lot of movement that can take place, still a lot to be determined here, and a lot of drivers that are going to be trying to stake their claim into that chase for the championship. These drivers do have 2 drop races. So if you're watching along at home and you see your favorite driver miss a race, it's not the end-all be-all of their season. They will drop those 2 lowest point score, or 2 lowest races, even if it's a 0-point effort for that. But these drivers have finished up their qualifying run, and it is time to bring you the starting grid here this evening for the race. And starting on the pole this evening, the man who has been, pretty much the favorite week in and week out here early on in the season, that is Adam Cabot in the 17. Look to his outside, Dallas Sullivan, really strong qualifying run out of the 46. Driver that we, honestly, a lot of time we see him not take a qualifying run, starts in the back and tries to work his way up through the field. He's going to be starting alongside in P2 here this evening. Seth Hatchell is going to roll off in the 3rd position. Bailey Turner to his outside in 4th. Row number 3 is going to be made up of Dennis Faircloth in 5th. Keith Mayato in the 6th position. Rob Liedl takes up P7 here on the grid this evening. Cody Atkins rolls off in the 8th position. Rounding out your top 10 is going to be Chris Samard in 9th and Ray Massey in 10th.
Going off 11th here tonight, it's going to be Jeremiah Vincent, the number 3 machine. Braxton DeWeese, a winner already this season, going to start from 12th position tonight. Jake Mockey going to roll off from lucky number 13 there. 14th is going to be James Loveland. Starting at 15th, it's Michael Jones. Cody Maurer going to roll off from the 16th position. 17th is Max Cost. 18th is Alan Dice. And Daniel, I guess you're in this race tonight, but showing you as 19th on the grid. Zach Smith, 20th on the starting grid tonight. Paul Hahn, 21st. 22nd is going to be Thomas Brendel, and rounding out the field of 23 drivers is Jake Miller in that number 52 car.
Yeah, Bradley, oh my gosh. I committed 2 cardinal sins here this evening, Adam. I joined as a participant, as a driver in the race, instead of joining as a spectator, which is why my name is on the grid. And then I just called you Bradley. So if y'all see another name up here with Adam next week in the VSPEED booth, you know why. He gave me the boot after this race and gave me my pink slip. So we're not off to a good start for the cardinal sins of the broadcaster. But, hey, we've got 120 laps to make up for it here this evening. And drivers rolling off on the grid. Let's take a quick look at the race analysis. 120 laps on the board here this evening. Fuel run going to be anywhere from about 75 to 80 laps. They've got 4 sets of tires available to them. 3 green, white checker attempts. And if you're a regular watcher of this series, you know we typically have a competition caution early on in the race, but that is not the case tonight. Next week may be throwback week, but doing a little bit of a throwback here this evening to some old school racing. No scheduled competition cautions, so the possibility of this race running green flag to flag, and that's going to change the way that these drivers attack it. They don't have that guaranteed short run at the beginning. You can see there 78-degree air temp, 99 out on the track, so a little toasty out there for the track temp, but not horrible for these drivers. Give them a little bit of a challenge here this evening. But the lights are off on the pace car. We are ready to get rolling and get this race underway. Green flag is in the air, field led by Adam Cabot, and we are underway here at the Milwaukee Mile. And already Adam Cabot out to a pretty good lead here over the rest of the field. Seth Hatchell looking to the inside of Dallas Sullivan here for P2, trying to take advantage and gain a spot. He will move up into that number 2 position. And, you know, Adam, I think this is something that we are going to see throughout the evening. Dallas Sullivan restarting on that outside lane. Again, I've never run the next gen at this track, but just prior experience that I have here, it seems like you want to be down in that darker pavement. If you move up into that lighter gray area, you're just going to lose too much grip in the turns, and it seemed like that did cost Dallas Sullivan a spot on the initial start here.
Yeah, taking a look here, Braxton DeWeese, who's running on the outside, got passed up by Jeremiah Vincent. He was able to slot back in line now out of turn number 4, but down behind them, you can see Loveland goes really wide. The 13 of Jake Mockey drove it in deep, try and get to the inside of the 00, and he is going to have all that grip of that fresher pavement down on the inside, but not going to get a great run. Definitely the preferred groove, but it can be tough if you got somebody to your outside.
Yeah, that's one of the things that makes passing such a challenge at this track, is that you kind of need to be able to run out to the wall on the exit to carry the momentum. You can see there, Jake Mockey just not able to do so. He's still behind James Loveland in the 02 right now, but the grip is on the bottom of the track. So it could definitely make for a challenging evening for these drivers trying to set up passes. And one thing that you will see throughout the evening, and we just saw it there on Jake Mockey's onboard with the telemetry, is shifting. These drivers are going to be utilizing 3rd gear in the turns, 4th gear on the straightaways. Don't think we're going to see anybody getting up into 5th gear, but that is definitely going to be one of the things you can do here this evening. Is when do you shift, where do you shift in the turn? You can kind of change the handling characteristics of your car that way as well.
Yeah, you could definitely wear out your tires a bit faster too by doing that, and we'll see who's got the long run pace. Obviously no competition caution tonight, you mentioned that, so gonna have to hold on to your tires. A flat track like this, they will get some wear on the left sides, so definitely, you know, 4 tires is gonna probably be the strategy call for most of these drivers if they get the chance to bring it in. But 2 tires could change the dynamic of how the car handles as well. We'll see if any of these guys did their testing in practice with 2 tires on it.
Yeah, that'll be curious to see, as well as taking a look here at your race leader, Adam Cabot, still about 1.2 seconds up over Seth Hatchell. Dallas Sullivan just kind of plugging along there in P3, just about 4/10 back of Seth Hatchell. Bailey Turner there in 4th. Shout out to Dennis Faircloth running in the 5th position. Solid start to the night for him so far. And, you know, one of the other things that we kind of touched on in pre-race, we talked about this high horsepower package. And if you're not a regular NASCAR fan in the real world side of it, you may be wondering, what in the world are they talking about with that? Well, NASCAR did a tweak to some of the rules packages in the offseason, giving the cars a little bit more power at these shorter racetracks. And Milwaukee is one that it is running the higher horsepower. So you talked a little bit about tire wear. It's easy to wear the tires out at some of these flatter tracks. It's going to be really easy to wear out the rear tires here as well, I think, this evening, just given that you've got more power to them. It's going to be easier to get those tires to spin and heat up compared to the old rules package that we had.
Yeah, to me, it looks like a lot of these guys are actually pushing on the exit. It's a little bit too much understeer, a little too tight. And some of these guys also struggling to get down into the corners. You can see they kind of miss the groove, kind of overshoot it, and that affects the whole rest of the turn. So it's going to be a real tight technical race tonight, I think, if you're going to want to make good lap time. As it looks like Bailey Turner has made a pass to get up to third position. He's gotten by Dallas Sullivan, who slips back to fourth, and under heavy pressure from Dennis Faircloth right behind him.
Yeah, Faircloth is now putting the pressure on Dallas Sullivan. And, Dallas, somebody that probably is just kind of biding his time right now. He's somebody that when you race with him, you just kind of expect that he's going to be there on a long run, just trying to manage his tires. He will definitely just let somebody go if they're faster than him right now and just try to manage his own race. One of the strengths that he has as a driver, but right now he has got Dennis Faircloth breathing down his neck for position. Back a little bit further, this is Rob Liedl and Cody Atkins battling for the 8th position. Liedl looks like just made that pass on Cody. Cody tried a little crossover there, was not quite able to get that crossover completed, so he will slot into the number 9 position here. And how about the Atlanta winner, Braxton DeWeese? He is not starting up as far as we've maybe come to expect with him in this series here in BTDY, but just kind of slowly but surely biding his time right now. I have a feeling we will see him up at the front, at least near that top 5 before the night's over.
Yeah, he's always got speed, and I would expect him to kind of slowly, methodically work his way up. He seems to be very good on the long run traditionally in saving his stuff. Just in the top 10, up 2 positions from where he started. Good start to this race. Battle up in front. Samard gets passed up by Rob Liedl, who's on the move.
Yeah, and Rob Liedl, it looked like, had a pretty big moment. I believe it was him earlier in that black and orange car where he got really loose off of the exit of turn 2. But that has not hurt the speed at all in that car. He is now up into the 7th position, as you had mentioned. And I say up into the 7th position. He actually started 7th, but had lost a few spots early on in the run and is now back to his original starting position. So the recovery drive is on now after losing a few spots earlier, and off to a good start here for that 80 car. And talking about drivers that are on the move, just taking a look through the field right now, Alan Dice currently running in the 13th position. He's your biggest mover here in the early stages of the race. Just got around, like that was Ray Massey that he actually had just recently passed and is now up 5 positions from where he started. Massey actually down 4 spots, as is Jeremiah Vincent behind him, down 4 spots as well from where they originally started.
Yeah, we just had a change for second. It looks like Bailey Turner was able to get by Seth Hatchell, but Seth right to the back bumper. Maybe he's going to try and learn a little bit here as we're already 15 laps into this race. Hatchell's starting to fade a little bit. He's lost about 2.5 seconds to Adam Cabot. You can see really tight on exit there as he's in behind the 24 and lost a couple of car lengths. Much wider on entry, trying to get the left side tires down in that darker pavement. Just barely touches the curb there and comes up all the way to the outside wall, but definitely struggling a little bit with looks like front end drive on that number 8 car.
Yeah, and I feel like that is probably going to be the name of the game here this evening, especially when you are pretty tight behind a car in front of you. Currently just about 0.6 of a second. He's getting out of that bubble where he would have a little bit of the dirty air impact, so that'll lessen just a little bit here for him. And Adam, here's a driver that you were talking about pre-race before we went live tonight, was Chris Samard. You talked about he just seems to be really good. He's really consistent at these flat type of racetracks. Currently started 9th, running in 8th right now, and putting together some really consistent laps. He's running basically, aside from our top 2, he's running some of the fastest laps on track right now.
Yeah, I've raced a lot of races with Chris, and we've had some great battles at Martinsville, New Hampshire. And his dad used to race super modifieds and cars up in the Northeast, so he grew up in that type of racing. A lot of flat tracks up here, and doing a nice job so far in this one, just trying to maintain what he can. But right behind him, Braxton DeWeese continues to move forward. He is showing some really great pace, about about a tenth off of your race leaders, and he's tucked in right behind the 77. And here he's got a run coming out of turn 4.
Yeah, he is looking to the inside of Chris Samard, and he is going to be able to make that pass. Samard giving him plenty of room. Looked like it was kind of an instance of, hey, you're definitely faster than me right now. Go ahead and take it. Still plenty of time to race this out throughout the rest of the evening. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Before that last lap, Braxton DeWeese had started turning some lap times that were also comparable to Adam Cabot and Bailey Turner. So, you know, we talked about him being really fast on the long runs, kind of been his MO here in BTDY, that he just shows up as these tires start to get some wear on him. And that, again, proving to be the case here this evening. And this is, you know, this is roughly the point of the race where we would normally expect to see that competition caution. So now's the time where I would really expect to see some movers through the field, both gaining spots and potentially losing spots, just depending on how you attack the beginning stages of this race. These drivers are so used to having that competition caution that you can just kind of go out, burn them down the first few laps. You don't really have to worry about saving tires because you know you're going to have that quick caution. But yeah, I'm just interested to see the difference in mindset here tonight. And personally, I like the change. I like not having the we'll say artificial caution. Just let this play out and see who can manage their equipment.
Yeah, I mean, strategy is definitely going to come into it. Do you split this exactly halfway, even though you can go a little bit farther than that? You know, it's looking to be, you know, pretty spaced out, but guys are starting to have some handling issues. We had the camera on Max Cost. He had a big slide coming off of turn number 2. Car was fully sideways and a really nice job saving it. But, you know, some of these guys might be starting to struggle with the handling. And we could see something happen, even just a solo car incident. But right now, Adam Cabot, he's hoping everything stays clean and green. He's got a nice lead.
Absolutely. And just taking a look at the lap times that the drivers are running right now, depending on what these drivers ran for their fastest lap, it's almost a full second of fall off right now compared to the fastest lap that they've run. And we're only, I mean, as far as how far you can go on fuel, we're only about a third of the way through this fuel run if they choose to run it out to the end. So that is a potential strategy that some of these drivers may play. They may try to do a little undercut, pass them in the pits if you're finding it difficult to pass out on track. And that's definitely something that we'll have to keep an eye on once we start getting closer to that halfway stage of the race and see if anybody elects to go that route as far as maybe trying the early pit or even staying out and seeing if you can catch a caution. A couple different ways you can play it there for sure.
Yeah, battle just outside the top 10. James Loveland, Jake Mockey, Alan Dice, Jeremiah Vincent, you could throw into that bundle. These guys all pretty close together as the field has gotten fairly strung out, just 25 laps into it. And Alan trying to continue his march forward, already up 5 positions. Nice run off turn 2 that time. Might get to the left rear quarter panel. He will dive it down to the inside in turn number 3. Mockey leaves him plenty of room for the moment, but good momentum in the center of the turn, but has to back out on exit. You can see he's getting really tight up there, and Alan Dice, you know, no contest right there, able to get by.
And I think a lot of that just comes back to what we talked about earlier, that you really want to try to keep your car in that darker pavement as much as you possibly can to get the max amount of grip possible. Alan Dice able to utilize that to his advantage there. Moves up into the 12th position. Still your biggest mover of the race, up 6 spots from where he started. And it looks like he's got plenty of speed that he could get up there into that top 10 this evening. Currently taking a look here, not quite close enough to try to complete the pass yet on James Loveland. But Alan has been putting some pretty quick laps here, putting together some really consistent laps, and maybe just a little bit of an aero pack there. I don't believe there was contact between the two, but the way that Alan Dice pulled up on the back bumper of that 0-2, it looked like it might have just packed enough air on James Loveland to move him up the track just a little bit. Loveland actually going to lose 2 places here as Jeremiah Vincent is able to get around as well. So not a good set of turns there for the 0-2 car, loses 2 spots. And Jeremiah Vincent now right on the back bumper of Alan Dice trying to take 11th away from him.
Yeah, Jeremiah was about 4 or 5 positions down from where he started this race, and now back to just one spot behind the 11th position where he started, and actually got a nice look to the inside this time in 3 and 4. Not going to be able to get alongside just yet, but has a shot at it maybe on the other end of the racetrack. I think he might have been saving just a little bit. He's running some nice lap times, about a 10th and a half off of your race leader. And Alan Dice way up the track. That time this could lead to a side-by-side battle here in turn 3. Jeremiah, though, just going to stick in line, and behind them, Jake Mackey goes to the inside of James Loveland. We did also have a change for position or a battle further up. Braxton DeWeese and Rob Liedl were side-by-side for a moment, and DeWeese continues his march up through the field, now getting closer to the top 5.
Yeah, this is going to be the point in the run where you're going to start to see who burned their tires up and who was taking care of them here in the early stages. I think you may have hit the nail on the head there, Adam, as far as Jeremiah Vincent, that he was definitely taking it easy there early on, trying to save a little bit of tire, and that is showing now with the speed and the pace that he has. Like you mentioned, he's only been about a 10th off of the leader's fastest laps, so really consistent lap times that he's putting down. See what it is this time around, given that he's not battling for position, and he ran a 30.82 to the leaders running 30.78 and 30.73. So he's within a 10th of those lap times, just about a 10th of those lap times that the leaders are running.
Yeah, and Braxton DeWeese also pretty close, 30.84 on that last one. But pretty tight spread across the whole field until you get outside the top 15. Those guys starting to struggle a bit towards the tail end of the field. Cody Maurer and Michael Jones have gone a lap down. They just got past not all that long ago. Zach Smith, the next one in front of your race leader, Adam Cabot, who's out here just having a nice Tuesday night drive. And no pressure on the 17 for all of this race. He's got 3 seconds in hand over Bailey Turner, and you know Bailey's going to probably try something to gain some of that track position or that time back.
Yeah, absolutely. Adam Cabot, really the first hurdle that he's had to clear here this evening, with having a little bit of lap traffic in front of him. And you know, Adam, after the race that he had last week, I would have to think that he would gladly take a calm, uneventful evening for the driver of the 17. If you're watching along at home, you don't recall what happened to him last week. That may have been a VSPEED first that we've seen somebody at a road course flipping and still come back to finish second. So to this point, 34 laps in, much smoother sailing for Adam Cabot to this point.
He's led every single lap, and the gap a little bit tighter than it was just a couple of circuits ago, 2.6 seconds as he gets around the number 7 of Paul Hahn to put him a lap down, leaving 18 on the lead lap. Next one in front of him is Jake Miller. And, these guys aren't running like way off the pace. It's just a few tenths of a second per lap now. But Adam Cabot is just on a tear. And he's making really good time up here at the front of the field. Battle for 9th and 10th. Cody Atkins is looking to the inside. Looks like he's able to complete the pass on Chris Samard. Jeremiah Vincent has closed in on these guys and trying to get up there into the top 10 as well. And also, looks like Dallas Sullivan, Dennis Faircloth, those two fairly close inside the top 5, but no side-by-side battle just yet.
No, this is definitely the battle for position right now on the racetrack, with Cody Atkins trying to now get away from Chris Samard after making that pass for position. Samard, though, sticking right with him, trying to find a way back around. And there's the 3 of Jeremiah Vincent. We talked about him just a few moments ago, that he is showing some really strong long run pace here this evening. And so far, that is continuing for him. He is now looking to the inside of Chris Samard, and it looks like Samard going to back off and let him have that position here. Just a little early to try to fight that, hang on the outside. But of course, as I say that, Samard got a really strong run off of turn number 4. Thought about maybe going for the crossover, but falls back in line for now, and now has to worry about Alan Dice behind him for the 11th position. And I'm a little surprised to see Samard kind of falling back here early on, especially, what you had talked about earlier, just that he is typically pretty strong on these flat tracks. But one thing with Milwaukee, I mean, yes, it is still a flat track, obviously, but it's really just so different than any of the other tracks we go to. Is, oh, there is going to be the first caution of the evening. That was Rob Liedl that just hit the inside of that pit lane, and it shot the car back out onto the track. I am not sure what happened to him there. That almost looked like maybe some kind of hardware malfunction or something, but let's take a look on the instant replay here. Oh, he gets loose on the exit, and at this point, he's basically just along for the ride. Steering is already probably broken at this point. He's trying to do the right thing and stay out of the way, trying to hug the wall down there to hopefully just go onto the apron in turn one, but you could see it there at the end of that incident. That wall is not perfectly flat the whole way around. It does have that angle that sticks out on it, and he's trying to do the right thing, and he clips the end of that wall, and man, it just absolutely destroys the front of his race car. And that is going to put us under caution here for the first time on lap number 40.
Yeah, Jake MILWAUKEE also caught a part of the wall there as he was trying to avoid the incident, so he's going to have some heavy right side damage, but able to continue on for the moment. Paul Hahn, though, it's going to be the end of his race for sure, as the leader is going to bring him down pit road. See where these guys cycle out.
Yeah, that is going to open the floodgates for all of these drivers to make their way down pit lane. Everybody coming down, getting 4 tires, filling up with fuel, and this is going to create an interesting scenario here. This is right at the outer edge of a fuel run for these drivers to be able to make it to the end if it does go green. So that's something that we'll have to keep an eye on if anybody is able to stretch it, make it to the end if it does go green, and how that may affect the pace once we fire back off here. But race off pit road, Adam Cabot will retain the lead. Bailey Turner in second, Seth Hatchell third, Dennis Faircloth in fourth. Dallas Sullivan rounds out your top 5, and that'll give these drivers a chance to reset and maybe figure out what they did. I don't want to say what they did wrong, but what they could maybe improve on from that first run, having a full 40 laps under your belt now.
Yeah, I'm sure they've learned a little bit, and there's a lot of teammates out here probably talking to each other about tire wear, and not a lot of time to, diagnose it here. Quick caution, and we're going to get back going pretty much straight away. No lead changes to this point in the race. Definitely an unexpected yellow there with how spaced out they were and the type of wreck that it was, but these guys are going to get back in action here.
Yeah, that was a bit of a peculiar incident. And like I said, in Rob Liedl's defense, he was trying to do the right thing. He was trying to keep the car down to the inside, make sure that he didn't take anybody else out with him. It's just such a strange inner pit wall that you have there with the way that it juts out. Any other racetrack, you could just hug that inside and you're good to go. This time it bit the driver of the 80 car, but we're already getting ready to fire this race back off. Be just under 80 laps to go when we go back green here. Adam Cabot takes the outside, Bailey Turner to the inside. Maybe a little bit of a teammate restart here between those two. They already get it single filed out down into turn number 1, but look at Dennis Faircloth. The big move starting on the outside there. He's up to P3 now on this restart.
Yeah, really good run there for Dennis to get to third position. He's got good pace in that car tonight, has been running top 5 basically all race long. Trying to make the move on Bailey Turner around the outside, that's going to be a tough one. That's one of the best in the league, and you're trying to go the hard way on a track where that's not the preferred groove. That is a really bold move. Not going to work for him that time. He'll stay in third place. Seth Hatchell now looking to try and find some way around as he gets a good run off of turn number 2. And they'll dive back into turn 3. We'll see how hard 83 sends it in. Goes in pretty deep. Hatchell right there on the back bumper.
And now up in the 5th position, Braxton DeWeese, the highest that we've seen him up the running order this evening, up 7 spots from where he started. Dallas Sullivan still right there in the 6th position, hanging close with this lead pack of cars. And there's Chris Simard now back up into the 7th position. Like he gained a few spots there between the pit cycle and the restart. So good sequence of events there for him. A little bit further back, we've got an admin battle for position here. The 5 of Alan Dice, the 55 of Cody Atkins. Nice to the inside, and he is going to be able to complete the pass on his teammate, work his way up into the top 10 now. And we'll see if he gets Jeremiah Smith here. He drove it in deep, almost contact between the two of them, but able to keep it in one direction for now. And yeah, that got a little bit tight there between those two drivers.
Yeah, sometimes you can take a very different approach to a corner than the driver in front of you, and you're not necessarily anticipating when they're getting on the brakes or the line that they're taking. And sometimes you've got to be a little bit evasive there down into the entry of the corner as Allen gets a big slide off, and we've got another yellow flag towards the back of the field, I believe.
Looks like, I believe that was the 18 of Cody Maurer that had an incident there on the front straightaway that will put us under the caution flag here. Let's go back and take a look on the VSPEED instant replay, and that looks very similar to what we saw out of Rob Liedl in the 80 car. An incredibly similar part of the track, just the car getting loose. This next gen is very difficult to save whenever that happens. And yeah, he was already loose on corner exit, trying to get the car back under control, and just hard contact with the outside wall, shoots him down the track into the inside wall as well. And possibly a little connection issue there also for the 18. But that is going to put us under the caution here, lap number 47. I'll be interested to see if anybody comes down pit road and tops off with fuel here. I mean, we said when we went back green that caution came out right at the outer edge of the fuel window. And now with having these caution laps, I would think that should put everybody where they could make it even without stopping again to the end of the race.
Yeah, and it's interesting though, because there has been some fall off, right? Adam Cabot is going to bring it in. Yeah, it looked like he was going to fake it maybe for a second, but he's going to bring the field down. And a few drivers looking like they might stay out, but I think those are just lap machines. That is Zach Smith. Yep, that's just lap cars staying out on the racetrack. So everyone pretty much going to bring it in here, top up on fuel, maybe take some tires. It looks like Cabot, though, very quick pit stop, just in and out of the box. That looks to be just fuel. Faircloth 5.4. Bailey Turner staying in the stall for a little bit longer. Maybe 2 tires for Braxton DeWeese. This will be interesting.
Yeah, there's definitely a mixed bag of strategy there. Like you said, Adam Cabot, Dennis Faircloth, your first 2 off of pit road, they definitely did fuel only, as did Alan Dice now in the 4th position. 3rd place, Seth Hatchell. 5th place, Chris Simard. 6th place, Braxton DeWeese. And 7th place, Jeremiah Vincent. Looks like they took 2 tires. Bailey Turner on back, it looks like pretty much everybody took 4 tires on this stop with how long they were in the box. And, you know, I was getting a little worried there for a moment, Adam, with that caution when they were coming down the pit. There's a line painted on the racetrack that used to be the commit line here. And I think iRacing has changed it to now where that commit line is that cone that you could just barely see right past those barrels there. I thought that half the field missed the commit line at first. I was waiting for the black flags to pop up from it.
Yeah, and it's so different track to track how you get onto pit road where the commit line is. So yeah, these guys probably not a track that they run at very often. This isn't one of the more commonly raced at tracks, especially in these next gen machines. So probably not all that familiar with where the commit line is. Hopefully you get practice in, right, and figure out where all those markers are. And it looks like everybody did a good job, no issues or penalties that time through the pit cycle.
Everybody good to go here. We should be good to go to the end on fuel if this race runs green, and we're getting ready to go back green. Field in control with Adam Cabot here. Dennis Faircloth to his outside on the front row. Green flag back in the air. Cabot is going to easily clear through for the lead. Seth Hatchell trying to get through for 2nd place here. He is going to have a little bit of a tire advantage over Dennis Faircloth. So we'll see if he's able to clear through or if those fuel-only drivers will be able to hang on to position here.
Yeah, so only about 5 or 6 laps on the tires for the top 2. And a few of these guys on 2 tires, that is definitely going to change the balance of these cars. You know, even just a few laps in, maybe even better handling than a 4-tire change for a little while. We'll see how that works out as Hatch on through. He is just a half second behind Adam Cabot, and trying to track him down. Looks to have a little bit more pace at the moment, now down to about 0.4 of a second. So keep an eye on the 8 machine. He's going to have a battle on his hands to get up there and pass the 17. And Adam Cabot doesn't want to relinquish this lead. He's dominated this race so far.
Yeah, and if you're the rest of the field, you've basically got to ask, like, how can I get up there and get this lead away from Adam Cabot? He started on pole. He's led every lap to this point of the race, and you're not going to beat him at this point by doing the same thing that he does. If he's taking tires, you're not going to be able to beat him that way. So, you know, if you're the rest of the field, you have to think that he's not going to burn another set that early in the race after just taking tires. He's going to want to keep that track position. So I like the call from some of these other drivers taking at least 2 tires. Even Bailey Turner taking 4 tires. I know it's got him a little bit further back in the pack right now, but if this ends up going green to the end, I think that 4-tire strategy will be the right call for the 24 car. He's currently trying to work his way around Alan Dice, who did a fuel-only stop on that most recent caution. And it looks like he's going to be able to clear as they go through turns 1 and 2. Although Dice still fighting hard on the outside, but just think that that extra grip that Bailey Turner has got will help him prevail here. And yeah, he is going to be able to clear through for that number 7 position. Now we'll see if he's able to get through around these 2-tire cars. That's going to be where more of the challenge starts, is as he catches those drivers that took 2 tires.
And how about Jeremiah Vincent, 2-tire pit stop call there? He's up into the top 5 in front of Braxton DeWeese. Those two have been very good on the long run in this race. Chris Simard is up here in 4th, so taking advantage of the 2-tire pit call as well, and he's putting a lot of pressure on Dennis Faircloth on just fuel only. So may not be the right call for the 83. Remains to be seen. Samard dives in deep though, and almost the 3 almost gets into him there. Has to go way up the racetrack, evasive maneuver there, and that's going to cost him a lot on the exit of turn number 4. He'll get passed by Braxton DeWeese. Here comes Bailey Turner now, going to look to the inside, and Alan Dice might even have a chance to get back by.
Yeah, that was a big stack up there that really started up with the 83 of Dennis Faircloth. He was struggling for grip there, just trying to get the car to rotate. And it looked like Chris Simard checked up to keep from getting into Faircloth, and then that just stacked everybody up behind. But Jeremiah Vincent definitely getting the worst of that, loses a few spots in that exchange. But now Bailey Turner up to the 6th position, and he definitely seems to have more speed right now compared to those that only took the 2 tires, and especially those that took the fuel only on that last stop, as he is right on the back bumper of that 00 of Braxton DeWeese.
Yeah, he's running comparable lap times to our race leader, even though he's all over the back bumper there at an aero deficit. But doing a nice job trying to close back in, and he just can't let the top 5 get too far away, and he's trying to take a peek to the inside of turn number 1 here. And Braxton DeWeese does a nice job closing that off, but the 24 all the way down onto the apron to get that car to rotate. And he is still on the back bumper, not going to lose any time, even with that short route on the inside lane. Braxton DeWeese, though, battling hard, trying to prevent this 24 machine from getting through.
Oh, now they're coming up on Chris Simard, who looks like he was struggling for grip in that last turn. He did take 2 tires on the most recent stop, but Bailey Turner able to kind of use Chris Simard as a pick, so to speak. Maybe a little bit of dirty air affecting that 00 car, Braxton DeWeese. That's going to let Turner get up into the 5th position. Back behind this battle, though, you can see it on screen a little bit there between Dallas Sullivan and Alan Dice. Those 2 drivers were battling for position. Dallas Sullivan, rather, able to get around his teammate for the 8th position. Dallas is another one of those drivers that took 4 tires on that last caution, so he's on the same strategy as Bailey Turner, hoping that this race goes green and he can put those 4 tires to use. Another good battle here between Jake Mockey, Ray Massey, and Michael Jones. Those 3 cars under a blanket for the 13th, the 13th, 14th, and 15th positions.
Yeah, and can't forget that Michael Jones got a lucky dog not that long ago. Jake Mockey had some damage, and those guys trying to recover Long pit stop for Jake Maki, 46 seconds in the box, and he is currently working his way back forward right where he started this race in 13th, so hasn't really lost all that much. Looks like they cleaned up the car pretty nicely. Shouldn't be any further issues, assuming he doesn't get caught up in anything else, but the car itself looks to be back up to speed. Battle for 4th place, Chris Simard putting a lot of pressure on Dennis Faircloth. Braxton DeWee is looking on as well.
Yeah, I think those tires are starting to prevail here over the fuel-only strategy for Dennis Faircloth. Bailey Turner was able to get around for the 3rd position. Chris Simard utilizing those 2 tires. He is now starting to put some pressure on the 83 of Faircloth as well. And you can really see it, especially over on this end of the track. It looks like in the middle of turns 3 and 4 is where that 83 car is struggling for grip the most right now. Turns 1 and 2, from what I've seen so far, he's got a little bit better arc that he can take down into the turn. He can kind of get that diamond line going through that set of turns. But over here in 3 and 4, it just seems like it's pushing up in the middle a little bit more on him, not quite able to get it to rotate. You could, I mean, right there especially, you can see just how much Chris Simard was able to close and roll the center there compared to Dennis Faircloth.
Yeah, and he's able to stay right on the back bumper all the way through the exit of the corner, which can be pretty tough in these Gen 7 cars. Looking up a little bit further, Bailey Turner's closing in on Seth Hatchell, and Seth has not been able to put any more pressure on Adam Cabot. It's remained about a half second between the top 2, and then now just about a car length or 2 back to Bailey Turner, who's on the move and putting down the fastest laps of anyone. So keep an eye on this 24. He may have pulled, like you said, the right strategy with the 4 tires as Chris Simard slips up the hill, and here goes Braxton DeWeese back into the top 5.
Yeah, DeWee's going to take advantage of the slip up there by Simard, and that is the danger that you run into with these next gens when you're following behind somebody as closely as Chris Simard was behind the 83 of Faircloth. You stay in that dirty air for so long, you're just putting yourself at risk of losing the nose, slipping up the track, and all it takes is one little bobble, and somebody's going to be there to pounce and take advantage of it. But a little bit further back up the pack here, battle for second is heating up between Seth Hatchell and Bailey Turner. Turner utilizing those 4 fresh tires from that pit stop and utilizing a little different line there. We saw him do that earlier with kind of going down on the apron in turns 1 and 2. He has found something with that line that works really, really well for him that I haven't seen anybody else try to this point. And he has now used it to work his way back up to P2. And even with making that pass for position, he was still almost a full 10th faster than Adam Cabot that last lap. So if he can pretty quickly dispense of the lap car here with Cody Maurer, he may be able to get up there and really put some pressure on Adam Cabot. Be the first time really this evening we've seen anybody do so.
Yeah, really good pace out of the 24. 4 tires definitely working out for him. The next closest on 4 tires is Dallas Sullivan back in 8th place as he looks now to the inside of Chris Simard. Those guys battling on different strategies, and Dallas starting to climb back up. He's got really good speed in that 46 tonight, qualifying up there on the front row. And I believe it's his mom or grandma possibly in the chat. Carol Sullivan.
I believe that is his mom.
Oh,
that is out there. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's cheering him on and having a good race so far. And up here in the top 10 all night long. And Dallas doing his best here. Probably best performance I've seen from him in a while on this flat track Milwaukee Mile. But up further in the field, Dennis Faircloth getting held up a little bit here by Cody Maurer. That's allowing Braxton DeWeese to close back in. Braxton continues to march forward on the 2-tire call, and up currently just actually one of the biggest movers of the race, 7 positions gained.
Yeah, and shout out to Dennis Faircloth. I did not think that fuel only call would hang on as long as it has for the 83, still running in the 4th position. And as these drivers tend to do here, not just in BTDY, but in all of the VSPEED leagues that I've got a chance to commentate on, they're proving why I'm up here in the booth and why I'm not behind the wheel, because they know what they're doing out there better than I do. And I definitely would have thought that the strategy wouldn't have worked out as well, but track position proving to be the key here for the 83 this evening. He's done a really nice job of hanging on to that. So shout out to Dennis on that pit call. And just trying to take a look at our lap times here. It's kind of evened off between our top two. They're running within, I mean, a couple hundredths of a second of one another every lap. So Adam Cabot still maintaining that lead over second place Bailey Turner, and actually was just a little bit faster than Turner that last time by. So again, I would have thought that once Bailey Turner got the P2 and just nothing between him and Cabot but air and opportunity, I would have thought that he would have been able to really just get up there and start putting some pressure on Cabot, but that not proving to be the case to this point.
Yeah, definitely clean air playing a big role, and Bailey's had to battle through quite a bit of traffic to get to this point, so I think he's just trying to maintain, maybe close in if he can, but there may be another pit stop for a lot of these drivers. Just in terms of tire fall off, you may be better off making a pit stop than actually running to the end here in about 15-20 laps. We'll have to see what the strategy calls look like. Some of these guys are definitely going to try and stretch it on fuel, and they should be able to make it or be very close right at the end. So it's going to be an interesting change or turn of events here, I think, in the next 10 or 20 laps.
For sure. And the one interesting thing too is if these drivers are short on fuel, how do you even go about saving at a track like this? Because they are shifting. So, you know, not only are you doing that to help the car rotate, but it's also helping the car slow down. I mean, you're using the engine to kind of slow the car down a little bit with that as well. So I just think if you're not going to be able to make it on fuel, I just don't see a realistic way that you could even try to save to stretch it. But we've seen crazier things happen, that is for sure. And if they are going to be short, somebody will inevitably give it a shot to see if they can make it to the end.
Yeah, we've got a pretty good train of cars stacking up here behind the 83 of Dennis Faircloth. We've got Braxton DeWeese, Jeremiah Vincent, Dallas Sullivan, Chris Samard, all these guys kind of nose to tail within a couple of car lengths of each other, and this is going to be interesting to see how hard they get to battling, because this could be an area where we might see somebody try a pass late in the run and end up with some type of contact. They're really struggling to get grip. You can see all these guys are just pushing in the center of the corner, and that's leading them to go really wide on exit, and then it seems like there's a little bit of oversteer just from so much wheel into it to try and get the car to rotate. And you can see they're all trying slightly different things. Braxton DeWeese all the way down on the inside curb, but a lot of challenges for these guys kind of nose to tail like this. And there he goes up the hill just a little bit that time.
Yeah, maybe trying to get a little bit of clean air, or maybe just lost the nose due to lack of clean air, but still able to get a pretty decent run off the exit of turn number 2 for Braxton DeWeese, but just not enough ground to be able to do anything with it. Is right behind them. Jeremiah Vincent in the 3 just had a big slide getting into turn number 3. That is going to cost him at least one spot here to Dallas Sullivan in the 46. Now Chris Samard in the 77 right behind him as well. Vincent only loses one spot, but I just happened to catch that out of the corner of my screen here, and man, he had a huge slide getting into turn number 3 on that last lap. And that was something that I actually saw out of the 46 of Sullivan as well, just a couple of laps prior to that. It's like some of these drivers have got a lot of rear brake dialed into the car to try to help it to rotate, get the car to turn a little bit better on entry. The downside to that is if somebody checks up in front of you or something happens where you have to get on the brakes just a little bit harder, it makes it a lot easier to get that back end to step out, and you could be sliding up the racetrack chasing it.
Yeah, you can see that just a little bit with Braxton DeWeese up in front, but he's able to actually take advantage of the inside lane. Dennis Faircloth slipped up the hill, and he's going to lose a lot of ground. Here comes Dallas with a big head of steam down into turn number 1, just a car length behind, and he's on those 4 tires, so still has a bit of an advantage, and he's running some lap times comparable or faster than your race leader. He's going to look to the inside off turn number 2. Dennis really starting to feel the fall off of the older tires now.
Yeah, and I feel like now that Dennis Faircloth doesn't have that relatively clean air. I mean, he did get passed by Bailey Turner and Seth Hatchell previously, but he had pretty clean racetrack in front of him and was able to utilize that to kind of hold position. But now that he doesn't have that clean air, it could be a few lost spots in short succession here for the 83 car. But yeah, you're right. Dallas Sullivan, he's on that same strategy that Bailey Turner is on, taking those 4 tires on the most recent caution. And so far, he's putting in some really solid lap times. Other than the race leader, Adam Cabot, he was one of the fastest cars on track last time. So definitely a really solid run. And you said it earlier, this is probably the strongest run that we've seen out of Dallas this season. Just from start to finish. It's still got just under 40 laps to go here, but qualified outside of front row. He's had speed in that car all evening, putting it to good use here. Now we see Jeremiah Vincent in the 3 looking to the inside of Dennis Faircloth. He's going to be able to clear through for position, and Chris Samard going to try to find his way through as well.
Yeah, interesting to see Bailey Turner has not been able to close in. He's actually lost a bit of time. He was down to about 0.6 of a second. It's now up to 1.5 seconds, and Adam Cabot is just out here having a fantastic drive tonight. I mean, this is as impressive and dominant as I can remember. We've seen a few drivers go flag to flag in one of these BTDY races, or very close to it, and he's on pace to do that right now. He's led every single lap.
Yeah, he is just having an absolutely monster evening. Started on pole, has led every lap to this point, and just trying to take a look through our fastest lap of the race. I believe he's got the hat trick right now too, because he is he's got the single fastest lap of the race as well. So just I mean, when you talk about taking him to the woodshed, that is exactly what Adam Cabot is doing here this evening.
And this would be looking for his 3rd win of the season already in just 6 races, which would be an incredible start. Already on top of the point standings. And Seth Hatchell right here, 2nd in points. He's running in 3rd, having a good solid night. Has not been able to keep up with the 17 exactly, but has been within striking distance if anything goes wrong for the top 2. But having a solid run, solid points night. Braxton DeWeese comes in just behind them in the point standings as well, running up here in the top 5. Dallas Sullivan, this is going to be a really good night for him coming into this race and having a nice solid top 5 run. He's actually closing in on Braxton for that 4th position, so continuing to put down great laps, faster than the leader that time. Jeremiah Vincent, solid performance overall in this one. Has had kind of an up and down race, started more towards the rear and dropped back, and then has climbed his way up here just outside the top 5. I also saw a change for position, I believe, between our lap cars, Paul Hahn and Jake MILWAUKEE potentially. And we've got Thomas Brendel just on the tail end of the lead lap. Adam Cabot about to put him 1 lap down here.
Yeah, a lot of drivers that need some good runs that were close to the cut line. That was almost a moment there for Adam Cabot. Well, that was a moment. That was almost a bigger moment. Contact between the 2 of them, both able to keep going, keep everything clean for now. But let's go back and take a quick look on the replay here, as Adam Cabot was putting Brendel a lap down. And I think he was just anticipating the 34 car would be a little bit further up the racetrack. Just very slight contact, but sometimes with this next gen, that is all it takes to send this car around, especially at a part of the track there that, we've seen 2 other drivers get loose just self-spin. I mean, it wasn't like it was a lot of contact or any contact in those instances. So that is definitely a treacherous part of the track no matter what, but great job by both drivers to navigate that and get through that unscathed. And the night will continue for both of them. But taking a look here at our top 3, Seth Hatchell is actually starting to close back in now on Bailey Turner for that number 2 position. He's been a couple of tenths faster. This lap, it kind of evened back out between the 2 of them. But prior to that, Seth Hatchell had actually been closing in by a couple tenths and maybe learning a little bit from Bailey Turner, as you could see him utilizing that apron in 1 and 2 there.
Yeah, he was all the way over the curb in 1 and 2. You can't do that on this end of the racetrack because there's grass down there, but he is about as tight to it as you could possibly be. And he's trying to get the clear air, or as clear of air as he can, down on that inside lane. And it's working to keep him in tow with the 24. But Bailey's starting to lose some time once again. So the little incident there allowed them both to close in. Hatchell's still putting down really nice laps. They're all within 0.03 of a second of each other, so very, very tight in terms of pace. And then you got to go 3.5 seconds all the way back to Braxton DeWeese. And those guys are kind of a little bit off the pace of these top three.
Yeah, that incident there, that moment that that Cabot had, like you said, did allow Turner and Hatchell to close back in just a little bit. But now Adam Cabot got the tires cooled back off, got his thoughts recollected, already running 0.2 of a second faster than Bailey Turner. Seth Hatchell ran pretty even to him that last lap, and Seth is going to try to look the hard way around here, trying to go to the outside. Nothing there, but we'll see if he can get a little crossover going here. He definitely seems to have the speed. He's going to look to the inside of the 24 of Bailey Turner, and he is going to be able to complete the pass for P2. So Seth Hatchell, and there you see again, all 4 tires down below that rumble strip, trying to find any grip that he can. Hatchell now back up to the P2 position.
Yeah, it looked like he almost overshot the center of the turn there and got back on the throttle a little too early trying to complete that pass. Almost got into the outside wall. Bailey just about followed him up into it, but better run through 3 and 4 that time, and he is a bit quicker than Cabot on that end of the racetrack. Down here, though, he's really finding some good pace. I don't know how he's getting that car to stick down there. These next gens, or Gen 7s, are not really happy with a lot of banking difference left to right. Like he's doing with getting the left sides down there on the flatter section. But it's obviously allowing that car to rotate a little bit better in the center, and he's getting a nice drive off. This time able to close another couple of tenths. So really good long run speed for the 8.
Yeah, and it is really interesting to see that that line is working. I mean, we've seen it at road courses before. I know I just recently had actually ran a race at Watkins Glen myself, and just the curbs there, they were so treacherous to go over in this car that, you know, you just look at them wrong and it would make the car want to spin out. So it's interesting to see that working here to the extent that it is. A little bit further back in the pack, a 3-car battle starting to shape up here for the top 10. Got Keith Mayato currently holding the 10th position, James Loveland in 11th, Alan Dice in 12th. All of these drivers battling for that position. And right now, Keith Mayato doing a nice job of holding on to that position. They're getting ready to come up on a lap car here. I believe that is the 7 of Paul Hahn that is the next in line. And then Cody Atkins about a second up the road in that 9th position.
Yeah, I don't think this is the run that Keith was probably expecting to have here tonight. You know, he's been very strong in New Hampshire and Martinsville, in all kinds of race cars. This is just, obviously, it's not, you know, quite a great fit for his driving style, but out here, you know, still having a nice solid top 10 run this late into the race, starting to find the speed and is trying to close up there and get a few more spots before it's all said and done. But yeah, his teammate James Loveland, right, he's been through a couple of things here tonight. He's been mired pretty deep in the pack, up 3 positions now though, and just outside the top 10. Alan Dice up and down through the field. He's on the fuel only strategy, so that is definitely hurting him here as this run progresses. I mean, he is about 4 tenths off of your race leader Adam Cabot, who's on that same strategy but has that clean air.
Yeah, just interesting, the differing strategies here and how those are playing out. Battle inside the top 5 looks like it may be starting to shape up here between Braxton DeWeese and Dallas Sullivan. Just been keeping an eye on the lap times. This last lap, Braxton DeWeese was about a 0.5 tenth faster, but Dallas Sullivan has definitely shrunk that gap down. It's now within about 0.5 second of Braxton DeWeese. The biggest question is just how is he going to be able to navigate the dirty air? He's at that point where it seems like this is where the dirty air kind of starts to take effect. You start to lose the front end of the car just a little bit once you hit about that 5 or 6/10 of a second back. But we'll see if Dallas Sullivan is able to utilize those fresher tires and get up there as we ride on board with the driver of the 46 and see if he can find his way up there.
Catches the wall just a little bit there out of turn number 2. You can hear he is waiting on the throttle a long time to get that car pointed in the right direction and make the exit of the corner. And he's doing a really aggressive diamond, diving it into the corner pretty hard, right? And then slowing it up a lot and then trying to cut it back across the racetrack. But that's just hurting his right front. I think it's probably just heated up a little bit too high at this point in the race. Just 20 laps to go. They've been out here for over 50 laps on these tires, and some of them even more than that.
Yeah, and you know, speaking of aggressive, there's an aggressive battle that's brewing here for the 7th position. Dennis Faircloth and Chris Simard. I think these two drivers are probably going to be tired of looking at each other by the end of the night. They have been, I mean, attached at the hip since we went back green from this last caution that we've had. And Chris Simard, he's definitely faster right now. It's just the issue is, how are you able to complete that pass? And Dennis isn't doing anything wrong. He's just defending position, as you would expect. But man, sometimes you get in this position and it gets so frustrating. You can't complete that pass even when you feel like you're faster. Chris Simard, probably one of the most patient drivers out on the racetrack in this series. And he has been putting that patience on full display here this evening, because I think he's been trying to get this pass completed for about the last 50 laps now.
And now they have Jake Miller out here kind of battling behind them. It looks like he's got much fresher tires, but, you know, 19 laps down in 20th place, trying to get another spot over Jake MILWAUKEE, who's taking it behind the wall. Zach Smith goes another lap down. We still have 14 cars on the lead lap, but that is about to change as well. Michael Jones just about to get lapped by Adam Cabot, and this is going to help Seth Hatchell out just a little bit if the 2 isn't going to roll over all that easily. Goes to the top side. Doesn't look like he's just going to give it up, as Cabot's still going to be side by side. This will slow him down on the exit of the corner, but Hatchell got a bit loose further back, so he's battling his own sets of issues here on the 2 tire call, and maybe the balance starting to shift the wrong way.
Yeah, with that last lap, Seth Hatchell was about 1.5 tenths faster than Adam Cabot, but looks like that's already starting to stabilize here just a little bit between the 2 of them. Like you said, Michael Jones trying to fight to stay on the lead lap, doing what he can do in case a caution does come out, that he doesn't have to take a free pass, can still just be on the lead lap at that point. Not doing anything wrong by any stretch, but Seth Hatchell actually still closing that gap in just a little bit. He was about 1 tenth faster this last time around, and now has it down to right at 1 second. Looking a little bit further back, the pass that has been a long time in waiting here. Chris Simard able to get around Dennis Faircloth. I think they actually had a little bit of contact just a lap or so ago between the 2 of them. But Chris Simard in the 77 able to complete the pass, get up into the 7th position. And next car in line behind Dennis Faircloth is going to be the 55 of Cody Atkins. And Cody is actually only about 4 tenths back. Another battle here brewing between VSPEED teammates. This is Keith Mayato and James Loveland for the last spot in the top 10.
Yeah, James seems to have found a little bit more pace over the 36. He's closed up to the back bumper, and almost looked like he was going to give him the bumper last time in 1 and 2. This time looks down low, trying to get that clean air to the nose. As up at the front, saw something happen with Braxton DeWeese and Bailey Turner. They're right on top of each other. Bailey is backed way off here. He has lost a lot of ground. I don't know if this is a fuel strategy thing, if he was maybe a little short on fuel. Not usually the kind of situation we'll see the 24 in. He's often the master of fuel strategy, but it's possible the crew didn't get all the fuel in, as he's going to pull over here and let Braxton DeWeese at least go to the outside. I think the 24 may be trying to save here to stretch it to the end.
Yeah, and I'm also wondering if that connection issue may be causing a little bit of a problem for him as well, because just looking at the lap time, we saw the blink out there momentarily while we were following along with this battle. And even the lap before that, it was registering a 3-second lap time. That is usually a pretty good indicator of a connection issue. And, when you have that happen, it can be really difficult to figure out exactly where you're at on track, just depending on how it shows up on the driver's side. So definitely a struggle right now for Bailey Turner. Not what we anticipated seeing at this stage of the race, regardless of what the cause is. I fully expected, with that tire advantage that he had, to be up there battling for the lead, battling for the win. But right now, Dallas Sullivan putting the pressure on to try to get up into the 4th position, and maybe even try to find his way onto the podium before this race is over. But inside of 10 laps to go now, he is running out of laps to try to do so. But the battle up front is not settled. Seth Hatchell has been consistently running a couple tenths a lap faster than Adam Cabot. He has got the lead down inside of 7/10. This is really about the closest that we've seen anybody to Adam Cabot in quite a while.
Yeah, pretty much since the restart. Hatchell was, 2-3 tenths at one point behind the 17, but it's been about 50 laps since that point, so nobody really has put pressure on Adam Cabot all race long. He took no tires on the last call. This is really wild. I mean, he's on one set of tires that he's used in this race. Seth Hatchell obviously just took a 2-tire call, which will help you a little bit on the long run, but he's really at a deficit with the the dirty air. You can see Adam Cabot's starting to work pretty hard. He had the back end a little bit upset down into the corner that time, but he gets to run whatever lane he wants. Doesn't have to worry about the air in front of him. Hatchell's still using the apron, trying to close up, and it's working every so often, but sometimes I think he's overstepping it just a little bit.
Yeah, and really, if you're Seth Hatchell, you got to try to do something. You got to try to get as much clean air on the front of that car as you can, and try to close this gap any way that you can. Seth has been close a couple of times this season already. He's been up there in contention for race wins. Maybe could have had a couple already to his credit this season. Right now, running in P2, trying to find a way around. Battle for 4th is on as well, and it is heated up between 3 drivers now. Bailey Turner still holding the position. Dallas Sullivan right there with him. Jeremiah Vincent has closed in as well. Dallas Sullivan now looking to the inside of Bailey Turner. Turner still having those intermittent connection issues. Dallas Sullivan a little sideways there off of turn number 4. He's looking to the inside as they head down into turns number 1 and 2. Oh, and contact between the 3 and the 24. Turner into the wall. Turner able to keep it going, but there is definitely some damage to the right front of that 24 car. Let's go ahead and take a quick look on the replay here. Sullivan to the inside. It's Jeremiah Vincent there behind, trying to find his way through, and gets into the 24. Bailey Turner, pretty hard contact to the right front of that car. He's going to be able to keep it going. We'll see if he can limp around. The next closest driver behind him is Chris Samard, almost 4 seconds back, so he may be able to maintain the position that he has for now. And then a little bit further back, speaking of Chris Samard, this is a hornet's nest right now, battling for about the 7th through the 10th positions here with these drivers.
Yeah, it looks like Chris is going to give up all 3 of these spots. I'm not sure that he is maybe low on fuel as well. Some of these guys, there's an option for it to auto fuel, and sometimes that gives you just barely enough to make it to the end or projected, but sometimes in reality it's not actually quite enough depending on the pace of the race. And I think that may be the situation. I mean, he has fallen way off the pace now. Those guys just drove away, and I think Bailey Turner may be having a little bit of that problem as well. He's obviously got quite the margin back, but he's giving that time away. I mean, he was 6 or 7 tenths slower than Cody Adkins that last time, and they're probably going to run out of time to get to him, but 3 laps to go. Adam Cabot, this race will be over here in just about a minute.
Yeah, it will tick off in pretty quick fashion here. See Adam Cabot still out there in the lead, comes to the line, 2 laps to go. Seth Hatchell just 0.8 of a second behind, but he's going to need Adam Cabot to make some sort of mistake to be able to get there and to be able to put the pressure on him to try to get this win away. And that's just something that we haven't seen here yet tonight out of Adam Cabot. Cabot now actually looks like he's stretching that lead out just ever so slightly over Seth Hatchell. Here's the first flag that Adam Cabot is looking for. That is the white flag. He's not going to have to deal with another restart, another caution. He is just 1 lap away from the win here at the Milwaukee Mile. He actually ran 0.3 faster than Seth Hatchell that last lap. So if he was saving anything, he is not saving at this point. The 17 of Adam Cabot through turns 3 and 4. And just talk about an absolutely dominating performance here for the driver of the 17. Starts on pole, leads every lap, brings it home for the win. Adam Cabot is going to be your winner here at the Milwaukee Mile. And I mean, yeah, just absolutely dominating performance out of him here this evening. Still a battle for position going on here out on the track. That is Ray Massey, Dennis Faircloth battling to the checkered flag. Ray Massey able to take the position away for P11, put Dennis Faircloth in 12th. Faircloth maybe even looked like he was out of fuel coming to the line there, really slow across the line. But the night itself belongs to the 17. And yeah, this was a very well-earned victory here in the Duncan Water Systems 120 tonight.
Yeah, anytime you lead every single lap, it is well-earned, and he had a pretty easy time out in front for most of this race, but Hatchell, keeping him honest there at the end of this one. I think Seth was maybe trying to save some fuel on the final lap. It sounded like he was shutting the engine off, but Adam Cabot, the magic man at the Milwaukee Mile here tonight, gets his 3rd win of the season. We're going to interview him and the rest of the top 3 and look at our full race results right after a quick commercial break.
At Cynthia Rogers, MD Dermatology, we specialize in providing comprehensive expert care for the full spectrum of skin conditions, from complex skin diseases and skin cancer to aging concerns and aesthetic needs. With decades of combined experience in medical, surgical, and aesthetic dermatology, our team brings both deep clinical knowledge and a patient-first approach to every visit. Our practice focuses on developing personalized treatment plans tailored to each individual's skin, health, and life stage. We're located in Port St. Lucie, Florida, in the PSL Professional Center. Learn more or schedule a visit at floridaskindoctor.com.
Steel Graphics and Designs creates custom racing wraps and logos built for the real world and iRacing. From bold liveries to clean, professional branding, every design is made to perform on and off the track. Ready to upgrade your look? Contact Steel Graphics and Designs for custom wraps. Visit Steel Graphics and Designs on Facebook to learn more.
Backed by 70 years of experience, Duncan Water Systems specializes in commercial and residential water system testing, design, installation, and maintenance. Our mission at Duncan Water Systems is to provide high-quality water solutions to every customer. We pride ourselves on being responsive, honest, and customer-oriented. Our priority is safer water for you and your family. Contact us via call, text, email, or visit us at duncanwatersystems.com.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Duncan Water Systems 120 here at the Milwaukee Mile. Let's go ahead and give you your full race rundown. Adam Cabot starts P1, finishes P1, fastest lap, leads every lap. absolute trip to the woodshed here for the driver of the 17 this evening. He is your race winner. Seth Hatchell comes home in P2. Braxton DeWeese rounds out your podium. We'll get a word from those three here in just a few moments. Fourth place, Dallas Sullivan, really strong run for him this evening. Jeremiah Vincent comes home in the 5th position. Bailey Turner able to hang on from that late race damage to finish in 6th. Cody Atkins in 7th. Keith Mayato comes home in 8th. James Loveland will finish in the 9th position. And Chris Samard rounds out your top 10.
In 11th here tonight, it was Ray Massey in the number 23 machine. Dennis Faircloth on the no tire strategy there falls to 12th. Last car on the lead lap in this one. Alan Dice finishes in the 13th position here tonight. Michael Jones comes home 14th. Paul Hahn finishes in the 15th spot. Zach Smith is 16th. Cody Maurer 17th. Thomas Brendel 18th. Jake Miller comes home in the 19th spot. And Jake Mackey going to round out your top 20. Rounding out the field tonight was Rob Liedel in 21st. Max Cost in 22nd. And Daniel, you did not take the green flag here tonight, but it shows you as 23rd. 22 cars took the field tonight. And a really fun one here tonight.
Yeah, these drivers put on a good show, had a lot of side-by-side battles, a lot to talk about throughout the night. But let's go ahead and get a word from our top 3 finishers, starting with 3rd place, Braxton DeWeese. This is Daniel and Adam up in the VSPEED booth. You got us?
I got you.
Well, man, really solid run for you. You were the biggest mover of the race, up 9 spots from where you started, and showing that long run pace that we've grown accustomed to seeing from you here in BTDY. How were you able to manage the tires here tonight and show that long run speed?
And to be honest with you, I don't really know. It kind of surprised me. I ran late, got off work a little bit later than expected, and didn't really make any laps. I maybe made like 4 or 5 laps, and didn't really get to hone in my brake master cylinders like I probably should have with a little bit more practice time. But right front was a big deal, just trying to keep that on the car. I felt like I did an all right job of it, where I could run up in the top 5, but still feel like I needed a little bit more with the braking on entry, and I felt like that would have helped me just in general to maybe potentially get up a little closer to the leaders. But solid run nonetheless.
Yeah, definitely a solid run for you here this evening. One of the things we saw drivers struggle with throughout the course of the evening, it seemed to be, was dirty air. Of course, you being able to move up through the field. How were you able to navigate that dirty air whenever you did run up behind another driver?
I always just try to get as much clean air as I can to the front fender, whether that's the left front or the right front fender. I feel like if you can get a little less air to the left front fender, and it can still work compared to the right front. I think you need like half the car to the right front fender for it to work in dirty air with a little bit of clean air. But just still being patient. You don't want to get too ahead of yourself. Trying to get around the car in front of you when the closer you get, the little bit tighter it's probably going to be because of the dirty air. Granted, it wasn't in this, and you can't see it in this because it doesn't do it, but I was watching on board from Tyler Reddick this past weekend, and you could tell once he was about like a car length to half a car length from the car in front that the hood would start to bounce up and down big time, and then the little flaps on the hood, they would start to flap up a little bit too because of all that disturbed air and stuff. So granted, this is a sim, it's still kind of the same concept as in the dirty air. It's just not really the best to be in, but we were still able to make it work. I'm really happy with 3rd place.
Yeah, definitely a good night at the office here. Good points day for you here at the Milwaukee Mile. Congrats on the P3. Before we let you go, who do you want to thank or shout out for it?
Yeah, most definitely a big shout out to Interstate Ford. These solid runs, being up here in the top 5 almost every week it's really good for points, and just good in general. If I can't win, I'd like to be in the top 5. So, we'll try to keep that up. Granted, the cars in front of me in points are finishing in front of me somewhat. It's all right. We're still having some solid runs, which is what you need, consistency to even fight for the championship to begin with. So big shout out to Interstate Ford. They've been a big help with on the car for multiple years now. Also shout out to 3 Dips Ice Cream Shop, Steak Time, Alan's Arts Images, Deweese Renovations, Elevated TV, Paid Leave, Wood Nickel Band, Ghost Train, Short Track Reports, Carbon Tires and Media, Evan Pineda Designs, our pizza house in Winchester, Indiana, for open serve pizza at the Winchester Speedway and helping us roast the fellas. And also shout out to Brandon Oakley Race Cars. It's been a pretty fun time learning and working over there the past few days, and I'm looking forward to the future. Going in there and putting my hands on some more race cars, and hopefully we can have a good old time and hopefully hop in one of them at some point. But nonetheless, I have a lot of learning to do, and I'm looking forward to it. So I'm also looking forward to go back and watching this a little bit, and hopefully we can improve next week.
There you have it from your third place finisher, Braxton DeWeese. Congrats again on the solid run. We'll see you at Darlington next week.
I appreciate it. Daniel and Adam, y'all have a good one.
That's your second or third place finisher, rather. And Adam, I believe you have caught up with our second place runner, Seth Hatchell.
Yes, I have, Seth. This is Adam and Daniel in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Well, a solid second place run for you here. Obviously couldn't quite get up to the 17. You started to close in at the end of this race. You were running all kinds of crazy lines down there on the apron trying to get that car to rotate. What was it driving like for you, and what else did you need here to try and get up there and contend?
Well, first off, we got to wait and see if that 17 car passes tech. He had us covered tonight. Yeah, that first run, he was long gone. I thought I was in real trouble. And that second run, I stayed sort of close. You know, he took no tires there, so I was able to stay a bit closer. And then, you know, sort of the same deal. I started falling back. Bailey got by me and sort of just started trying things. Yeah, the apron in turn one, I was just sort of sitting in there. There's no rubber down there because nobody else had run down there. So I just sent it in and then just try and park center and try and get to rotate once I got to the center. And it worked for a little bit. And then, you know, got to that sort of air bubble, that dirty air, closing in on him. And then also running close on fuel, driving crazy. So I had to save a little bit those last couple of laps. But all in all, happy with the second place. You know, 20 laps in, I didn't think I had a top 5 in me, the speed I was running. So happy to come back, finish second.
Yeah, really strong performance once again. You're right up there in the hunt for the championship lead. You know, Cabot with the third win on the season, he's got that, you know, in hand, but you're not that far behind, and still lots of races to go here in the regular season. The next one is going to be Darlington. You're one of the more recent winners in this league at that track. This is the, you know, a different car, I think, than you won in last time, but how do you feel about going there in the Gen 7 machine?
Feel really good. Always had really good speed there. These next gen cars, it's really difficult to pass there, so track position is going to be pretty important. Qualifying really well. The track's just so narrow. Even if you're quicker than a guy, it's really hard to find a lane to get by him. But they've definitely had a good track record there. Excited to get going there. Yeah,
definitely going to be a fun one with the throwback machines as well, and looking forward to seeing you going out there and battling for yet another chance at a win. And you're off to a really good start to this season. Anybody you want to give a shout out to for tonight's second place finish?
Yeah, I want to thank you guys, doing an awesome job with the broadcast. Got to thank Cody, all the admins, doing a great job with this league. Dale Duncan Water Systems for sponsoring the race tonight. Florida Skin Doctor sponsoring the league. All the drivers putting on a great race for everybody to watch, and my team VSPEED.
Awesome, Seth. Well, thanks for taking some time here. Great run tonight, and looking forward to seeing you battle for the win next week at Darlington. Go celebrate, and we'll catch you then.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And that is your second place finisher, Seth Hatchell. I believe we are waiting for our race winner to join us here, but looks like Daniel, you're with him.
Yes, sir. I have got the man of the hour, Adam Cabot. This is Adam and Daniel up in VSPEED booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Man, second week in a row that you were the show, regardless of whether or not you won. I mean, last week is because you went from upside down to second place, but a lot more, we'll say, uneventful race for you, even with, you know, fastest lap, most laps led, well, every lap led, started on pole and won. You know, just was there any point at the night where you started getting a little nervous, thinking maybe something might go sideways on this, or were you feeling pretty comfortable out there tonight?
First of all, yeah, I guess I just had to redeem myself for last week. So try to do the complete opposite, which was make it as boring as possible. But yeah, honestly, I was pretty worried after the last caution where we all pit, but we'd only had like 5 laps in our tires, and I didn't want to give up the lead. So I just did fuel only, and then that thing just went green all the way to the end. We didn't get a single caution, and my tires were pretty much toast towards the end. So I was nervous when Bailey was running me down on 4 tires. I thought he was going to have me, and then same thing with Seth when he made a late charge. I thought, man, I might be screwed here. But I just had to drive really hard, but then also like really smart to not use up the tires any more than I needed to. So I probably still made it tougher on myself than I needed to, but I mean, that first run was crazy how much speed I had. So I just didn't want to put myself back in the pack, and I figured even if I was at a slight tire deficit, I'd still hopefully be able to hold the lead. And it seemed like clean air was pretty important. I'll be honest, I don't really know because I was fortunate enough to have it all night. But talking to Seth and Bailey, it seemed like they would get like about a second, maybe 0.8, 0.8 of a second behind me, and kind of just get stuck. And I did feel it coming up to lap traffic a few times, just kind of just drifting up in the center in the wake of the car in front of me, even though I wasn't that close to them. So, but yeah, that's all. I figured that I probably led every lap, but that's awesome because I don't know if I've ever gotten the pole, led every lap, and won a race. That's like it's a perfect race right there. So that's pretty awesome. And yeah, I guess it's the dream season continues. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, and not only that, but you had the fastest lap of the race too. So you completed the hat trick or whatever you want to call it with that. So, next week you're the only multi-time winner this season so far. Next week we head to Darlington. How do you feel about your possibility of extending your streak there next week?
I'll be honest, really good. I love Darlington. It's probably like my second favorite track. But at the same time, I thought Atlanta was my best shot this year, and I didn't win Atlanta. So anything can happen in these races for sure, but Darlington's just such a fun track to drive. So hopefully we can keep the streak going.
Well, Darlington's definitely one of my favorites. So, if you're going to go out and just lead every lap again, I hope you at least have a really cool throwback next week. That's the only thing I'll say with that. But congrats.
I guess that's my homework assignment then.
Yeah, if you have any homework from VSPEED, it's make sure that you have a really awesome throwback. You got plenty of choices with the number that you've run. You got some really good ones there that you could do. But
throwing it back to the previous week doesn't count, does it? I have to do better than that.
Normally I would say no, but when you go out and put on the performance that you did, I don't think that I could actually argue with it in that instance. So yeah, just really phenomenal night. I don't think there's anything else that we could say about just you absolutely taking them to the woodshed. So before we let you go here this evening, who you want to thank or shout out for the win?
I'm going to dedicate this one to my mom, who watches pretty much all my races, and her birthday's Friday. So we'll consider this an early birthday present.
There you go. Happy birthday to Mama Cabot. And good present for her, to especially being able to watch that. Did you have any other shout outs or just Mama this evening?
No, we're going to just dedicate this one to Mama this evening.
Well, there you go. A great birthday present for her. Congrats again on the win. We'll see you next week at Darlington.
Thanks, guys.
Well, there you have it from our top 3 finishers. And man, just what another good race here. A lot of green flag racing. I like the different strategy plays that we had here throughout the night. Definitely kept things interesting, not just from the on-track perspective, but also just with the different agendas that people were on. Made for a really good race here in the Duncan Water Systems 120. But next week, Adam, this is my favorite track on the schedule. It's not even a close second. Darlington is God's gift to racing, God's gift to NASCAR. No one will ever convince me otherwise. You throw in that it's the throwback race. You know that there's a lot of awesome painters in this league. Hint, hint, looking at you, Dennis Faircloth, that's going to crank out a lot of really awesome throwback schemes. Are you as excited for next week as I am, Adam?
Oh man, I love Darlington. Definitely one of my favorite tracks. It is a tough one, the Lady in Black, and there's going to be a lot of Darlington stripes around this field and on those beautiful throwback schemes next week. But should be a really exciting one. I know there's a lot of guys in here that they're almost like Darlington specialists, and so it's going to be very competitive. And we're going to see a great show like we always do in BTDY.
You are absolutely correct. Looking forward to it. We will be back with you right here live on VSPEED to bring you that throwback race at Darlington next week. But that is going to do it for our coverage here this evening. So on behalf of all the admins here at BTDY, for everybody at VSPEED, Bradley Cooper, Morgan Cook, Eddie Smith, and of course you as well, Adam Baker. Also want to give a shout out to Dougie Beard for those cams as always. My name's Daniel Cunningham. Thank you for tuning in. We're going dancing with the lady in black next week. Darlington Raceway for Throwback Week. We will see you there.